I left you with some music. Not too loud so you guys can still focus. Okay. And we are now live, ready to rock and roll. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are you gonna address all the questions? Or just the ones?
We're gonna figure out. Let's see. If everybody's honest, we'll address all the questions. You know what being honest means here? That if you have a question, if you're not sure about the answer, what do? Ask. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, children. Question number 1 was, Sally works on a 50-50 commission. 50-50 commission split with her broker. If she lists a house for $146,000 for 6% commission and sells it for $144,000, how much does Sally receive? Before I proceed, the question says, list the house for $146,000. Do we get paid commission from the listing price?
No.
Sales price. So $144,000 was the number to use, correct? All right. What answer did you guys get?
D.
C and D, they're very close. Right? C and D? No? Okay. Side joke. So everybody got D? Is there anybody that didn't? Okay. You all being honest, right?
Yeah, I think looking for.
Huh?
Answer.
The next question that we asked was 5, right? Now, it says here that the Avalons home on Dove Street is valued at $95,000. Property in their area is assessed at 60% of its value. And the local tax rate is $2.85 per 100. What does per 100 mean? Percent. Very good. Now, they're asking, what is the amount of the Avalons monthly taxes? Before anything else, are taxes based on market value or based on assessed value? So the first thing we need to figure out is assessed value. Very good.
I don't know how to do that.
All right. You don't know?
No.
You don't know how to do what?
No.
Assessed value?
I don't remember.
Okay. So, sorry. So, what was the answer?
I got D.
D? D? Did everybody get D? Katie? She's like, I'm more advanced than that. I'm on page 100.
I did it.
You didn't do it?
No.
Okay. Okay. Correct answer is D as in David. So, Katie, why didn't you do it?
I don't understand.
You didn't understand the question. Great. So, let's figure out what it says here. It says that the Avalons, right? Home on Dove Street is valued at $95,000. Sorry, guys. I have to cry a little bit. Something got into my head. So, sorry. The Avalons home is valued at $95,000. That means that $95,000 is the fair market value, what it's valued at, right? Taxes in the area are 60%, right? Are based on 60%, so the assessed value. assessed rate. And then it says that the tax rate is $2.85, right, per $100, correct? Tax rate. And the question is, what is the amount of the monthly taxes? Okay. I already told you guys several times that this is a quick game, right? It's like a game. You have to think about it as a game. And the game is figuring out what they're asking. And before you get there, if you don't know what they're asking, right, you don't know what steps to take. So what is the first thing that they're asking? Monthly. Isn't that what they're asking? Monthly. And we know the taxes are annual, correct?
Correct.
So at one point, what do we have to do?
Divide.
Divide by 12, right? So because they want monthly. So at one point, we're going to divide by 12. Take a note, put it there, done. By the way, this is how I break down all my math questions. Take all the info out, figure out what I need, and then dump it into the tool that I provided, right? So here comes my next question. Taxes are based on assessed value, right? So we need to figure out the assessed value of this property. How much is the property worth? 95,000.
I had a question about that one. So usually B, it represents purchase price.
It's the base of the question. So it says, right there, it says base value or whole.
Meaning purchase price.
It could be the purchase price. It depends on what the question is asking. Because I'm going to show you in a little bit that we need to use twice this steering wheel.
I know, but I just get confused with P and B on where to put.
Okay.
What is normal?
P is always a portion, part, or income. So it's always this, well, not the small number, but it's the outcome of that main number. So at the bottom it says base, value, or whole. In this question, this is the value, fair market value, right? It does say in the question, right?
Yeah.
Valued at. So that's value. Where does value go? If you see this, the steering wheel in the cheat sheet that I gave, it says base, value, or whole. So where does value go?
P at the top. Okay.
Value.
B.
B at the bottom. So 95,000 right there.
P or B? B as in boy.
Yes. B as in boy. Base, value, or whole. Base, value, or whole. Part, portion, or income. Rate, percentage, or interest. Okay?
Yeah. Kind of. I'll see if I can. I'm horrible at doing math like that and then trying to put in something else.
No problem. There's 102 questions available for you after that, in case you missed these. Just follow with me and we'll get there. So 95,000 is the base, value, or whole, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What are the numbers we have for the assessments?
60%.
Percentages go at the bottom, right? So if two numbers are at the bottom, what do?
Multiply.
Multiply, great. And the result is 57.
Why do you move the decimal tool?
I didn't.
I know, but when do you do it?
If you wanted to go from 60% to decimal, you drop the percent sign, move 2 to the left.
And why we do that?
Because some calculators don't have percent key. Because yours does, we don't need to. So 57 is what?
Assessed value, right?
Assessed value. Assessed value. You guys got it? But is this what we need? We're trying to figure out taxes.
Right.
Taxes are based on what? Assessed value. So now that we have taxes and we have tax rate, can we calculate the taxes? Yes. So this right here was step number 1. Now we're going to go into step number 2. In step number 2, we have to do a steering wheel again. We now know the assessed value. We know the tax rate. Let's figure out what the taxes are. So, what numbers do we have? 57,000. See, so now the 57,000 is the base of the question for the next step. It's the value that we need. The assessed value is now goes into step number 2, right? So 57,000. And what else do we have?
The rate.
2.5%.
2.85 what? Percent, because that's what, if it's per $100, then it's per cent. Very good. Okay. If the numbers are at the bottom, we multiply, and the answer is 1,600 and? Sorry? Okay. I'm no math wizard. It's just, it's the same questions for 4 years.
What?
Okay. What? Okay. That's correct.
Well, here it's showing $162,000, not 1,606. 1,600.
You have 162,450. Yes? Because you did not apply the percent.
I did. 57,000
Thousand.
times 2.85%. Not sure.
Now, this number is annual tax. Is that what they're asking for? Monthly. So now we need step number 3. 1,624.50 divided by 12 is 135.38. Correct?
You don't need the stereo. Okay.
Well, at the end, you need a steering wheel. You know you're going to divide by 12. Listen, technically, you never need the steering wheel. The reason why I gave you this tool is because most people don't know when to divide or when to multiply. So it just helps you assess what step to take. But again, if you don't understand what the question is asking, there's no steering wheel that will save you. There's no calculator that will save you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You could be a master at math on how to divide things out of the top of your head and all that. It doesn't matter if you don't know what the question is asking. And I've had somebody in my class, funniest thing, sitting right here on my Saturday class, and he goes, well, I'm an engineer. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm an engineer, and math is my game. I'm like, okay, no problem. Let's do these things. He did it, and then we're reviewing things as we're doing here. And I asked him, Calvin, his name, Calvin, what's the answer? It's B. And I go like, no, it's D. That's impossible. Like, no. The problem is you forgot that it says monthly. Do you guys understand? Stuff like that. He would come up with the answers that were correct if he had not missed a step. All right? So it doesn't matter how good you are at math. He was good. He just wasn't good at reading. Are you guys understand this? Okay. Questions?
No.
Great. So the next one we had was 7. The answer for 7, we have Hal, Olive, and Ron, and Marvin pooled their savings and purchased a vacation home for $125,000. If Hal invested $30,000 and Olive and Ron each contributed $35,000, what percentage of ownership was left to Marvin? Correct answer is?
Okay.
Did everybody get A?
Yes.
Okay, good, perfect. So we don't need to go over this one. If anybody that's watching from home is interested, had the answer, any of these answers incorrect, or has one that you'd like me to address, even you guys when you do the rest of them, send me a message saying which question you want help with, and I'll create a quick video explaining it, okay? I see there's people watching from home, just want to make sure we're on point. So we got 7, the answer is A, that's great. The next question is 11, and I know that, but for you guys, if you guys are doing number 9 later on, you have to go to page 196
Okay.
for number 9.
What the heck?
Exactly.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
left.
Page 196. You need the chart that's provided to you. It will be provided to you in the state exam. All right, wired one. Any questions? Let me know. So you have to use the chart that's there. Did you find it?
What page? 196?
Yeah. There's a chart that says how to use this chart. Yes? Great. It will be provided to you in the state exam. Okay? What happened?
No wonder I didn't get it right. I was so frustrated with that one. I was
Yeah.
looking at this,
I'm like,
at
what
the
the-
monthly payment, principal interest. I was looking at that.
All right, so then the next question was 11. I'm sorry, I should have said it earlier, right? Next question is 11. John Walton, and I gave you the answer to this one when we started the chapter, when I drew the pizza pie and I told you to take a slice, what was left. But John Walton received a net amount of $168,000 from the sale of his house after paying $1,200 in legal and other fees and 6% sales commission. What was the selling price of the house? Correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is?
I got paid.
You got what? You got D? Did anybody get B or C? Good, because those are incorrect. Correct answer is A. Now, Katie, how did you get A?
Divide and 169, 300, divided 94%.
Perfect. Nella, you got A? How did you do it?
I think I have to do about 69. I don't know, I can have a little place.
Me too.
Okay, while you're figuring that out, did you get A as well?
Yeah.
How did you do
I actually took 180,000, took the 60.
it? And we'll go to that in a second. That's what I wanted to know.
168,000 plus 1,200 because it's expense, and then 6% is not a the right percentage sales commission is like a 94.
Correct.
4%. So 169,000 divided by 94% is 180,000.
Perfect. Nella, is that what you did? You got the 169 to 100, so I assume that'll be the other option. All right. So let's hold on to that. You got it wrong.
I got it right.
You got. Okay. How did you do it?
I did 168 plus 1,200. Then I took the, since that was 100, actually 94, I need to come up with the 6%. Then I just did the 94.
Okay. Now, Cannabis, here's the thing. It's not that you did something wrong. It's just that if the answer was D, you'd be trying different routes to get there, right? Because you went from the answer and process of elimination that way. what I want you guys to do when it comes to math is really understand what the question is asking. Okay? And if anything, this is the hardest question they will ever get. And it's not that hard if you understand the concept. So, let me show you
This would be
guys.
the hardest question?
If anything, the math questions, this will be the hardest one. So, what does the question say? It says that John receives 168,000 net sales price, correct?
Yeah.
Great. After paying $1,200 in fees and 6% commission. Correct?
Correct.
And they're asking, what was the gross sales price? Is that correct or what?
Mhm.
Great. Now, in the previous chapter, I presented to you guys who gets paid first.
Us.
Yes?
Yeah,
And that is?
the broker.
Correct. So, thinking about that, the natural process is from here, you're going to deduct the commission, because it's the first thing. Then we're going to deduct the fees, and the seller takes home whatever's left, right? So this is minus commission, minus fees, equals, correct?
Yeah.
But they're asking the reverse, the opposite. What was the gross sales price? So in this case, we have to do the exact opposite. From here to here, right?
Mhm.
So the first thing we have to do is add. And here we're supposed to add, but we won't be able to. So I'm going to show you what you need to do first. We're going to calculate the net plus the fees. And that equals 169, 200. Correct?
Right.
Now, if 169, 200 is what's left over after the commission, right? I'm going to explain first why we can't use the commission. Because there's three elements, right, in percentage problems. There's part, portion, right, part or portion. There's a whole value, and there's a percentage, correct?
Yes.
Three elements. Out of 6%, which elements do we have? The percentage.
Interest.
Do we have the whole?
No.
The value? No. Do we have what 6% is?
No.
Well, 6% will be the commission. Do we know the value of the commission? No. So if it's missing two elements, how do we figure out the third? Do you guys understand? So the 6% is not the number we need. We have to do what I told you earlier, which is pizza pie, and we're going to take
6% off.
a 6% slice. How much is left?
94%.
94%. Didn't I present this in the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So looking at what we have here, guys, look right here. Looking at what we have here. After the slice, what's left?
94%. 169.
Which is what you just said. You got it? So after commission, how much is left? 94%. What is the 94%? Well, it's 169, 200. So now my question is, do we have two elements? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Then the third element is this that we're trying to figure out. The gross sales price. All we have to do now is the steering wheel. What numbers do we have?
We have the 169, 200.
Which is what? Don't get fooled by the big number.
Portion.
Part, portion. 169, 200. What else we have?
We have the percentage
Which is what?
R, 94%.
And we're trying to figure out value.
So we have to divide.
If a number's on top, see why the steering wheel is great? You don't even say anything else, you already have to divide. You know it. If a number's on top, number at the bottom, you divide. And the answer is 180,000. Kevin, you got it? If you,
I kind of got it, like, I know exactly like what to do, so it was just like, I guess, easier for me, because like, I know like the brewer gets paid, you know, the commission, and then you subtract, you know, you have to pay the, what was it, the legal fees, and then I got to the answer, so I just kind of went backwards, but not that way.
okay. I'm just saying it's just a lot of people get stuck with going through A and see if it matches, go through B and see if it matches, go through C and see if it matches. And by the time you get to D, which could be the correct answer, you wasted so much time. That's why it's best that you understand the concept, right, that we're trying to present and what the question is actually asking, right, than to go by process of elimination that way. For this one. Any questions? Okay. Next question was 13, right?
Yes. No, 11. Oh, sorry. My bad.
13, an FHA loan on a house price between 50,000 and 100,000 requires a loan to value ratio of no more than 97.76%. If Heather is financing the purchase of a $95,000 house with an FHA loan, how much cash must she have for a down payment? Correct answer was?
B.
Did everybody get B? Malik? Okay. 2,128. That is correct. B. Any questions? Good.
I had a question. For FHA, doesn't they hold up? They cover 10%?
No.
Oh,
10%.
it's not 10%.
FHA will give you, on
10,000
average,
dollars.
no. We'll give you on average a down payment of 3.5%. But it's always subject to change. It is possible that houses between 50,000 and 100,000 would request a little bit less. Correct.
Oh, it's 3% and a half.
3.5%.
3.5%.
Yeah. Next question. Okay. If the frontage of half an acre lot is 75 feet, how deep is it? If the frontage of half an acre lot is 75 feet, how deep is it?
I got C, but I have no idea how I got this answer.
When in doubt, pick C. That's what it was?
No, I was doing the calculation and that came up and I'm like, what?
Okay. So here's what we do. Did everybody get C? Katie? Malik? Okay. So you don't know how you did it?
So what I did was, I took the acre, which is 43560,
Why is it 43560?
because all scrolls were, let me tell the story.
Route 35, 60 miles per
See?
I'm telling you, it works.
hour. And then took the towel to the leaves.
He's adding to the story. I love it.
What did he say?
I love it.
So I divided that by 2 because it said half an acre.
Perfect.
And then I divided that by 75.
Okay, so you know how you did it.
Yeah, but I'm like.
That's the process.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Usually what I like to do when it comes to area, I like to draw the area. Because then I'll just put here 75 feet. It's the width. This is the area. Got to bring it back to square feet as I showed you. And they're asking, what is the length? So I like to draw. And I know that if there's an inside number, it must divide, right, by the outside number. But can we divide half an acre? No. So we needed to figure out how much is 1 acre and divide that by 2, which is what you did. We have the 4 squirrels, Route 35, 60 miles an hour. Divide that by 2, and that's 21,780. And that's the number that comes here. Now we have 21,780 square feet. Inside number divides by outside number, and the answer is 290.4.
It worked. So it matters. That was the end.
That was the end of it. You guys continued the rest of them?
I did.
Is there any there, because we're pretty much done, is there any there that you guys have questions on, that you'd like to address? 9?
And 10.
I didn't get to finish.
Okay,
But now you needed that chart,
you
right?
needed a chart. If you read what it says in the chart, then you don't need me anymore.
I didn't do it after.
No, but I can do it. I was just messing with you. Ready? Yes?
Yes.
Great. What does it say on 9? Who can read it to me?
A house was listed for $249,999. That's it? The Smiths offered $225,000. The sellers.
Hold.
Okay.
What else?
The sellers countered with 235, and the Smiths accepted.
Hold on. Can I write it down? Go.
And the Smiths accepted the counter offer. They are making a down payment of 20% and financing the rest at 5.25% for 30 years. How much would their monthly payment?
For
no,
20 years, you said?
30.
30 years?
How much would their monthly principal and interest payment be?
Okay. So this is the info we got, right?
Wow.
249,000 was the listing price. Do we close based on listing price?
No,
We close based on offer. If the offer happens to be the listing price, we're great. But was it?
no.
No. So first thing, listing price out the door. Now, there was an offer made, and seller countered. Did they accept the offer, or they accepted the counter? Counter. So do we need the offer?
No.
No. Extra piece of information, not needed. So now, they're asking, what's the principal and interest? Now, principal and interest is based on the loan, correct?
Correct.
Is the loan $235,000?
No.
No, because we put a down payment and the loan is the difference, correct?
Correct.
So, one thing you need to know is that 20% down payment equals 80%
Loan to value?
LTV, loan to value. That means that the loan is 80% of the purchase. Correct?
Correct.
Great. So, here comes step number 1. Figuring out 80% of the purchase. How much was the sale?
235.
235. What is the percentage of the loan, the LTV?
80.
Numbers at the bottom, what do we do?
Multiply
So what is the loan amount?
a number.
188.
1
88.
flat?
That was my number.
Good. 188,000. Now, to figure out the principal interest, we need to use the chart. And in the chart, you guys are going to have to look for 5 1/4
550.
and the 30 years. And it says what?
550.
This?
5.5 for you.
Great. Ready? Everybody got it?
Hold on.
I'm holding. 5.53.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
Great. Now it says right there how to use the chart. We got 5.53. We have 188,000. So now step number, actually I'm sorry, this was step number 2, figuring this out. Step number 3 is now 188,000?
Mhm.
No, because in that chart it says that number is based on thousands. Right on top, an alert, it's based on thousands. So for every $1,000 borrowed, we multiply by that number. How many thousands do we have in 188,000?
188.
So the number we need is just 188 because there's 188 thousands. Okay? So going back here, it's 188 times 5.53. And the principal interest is
1,029.
1,000?
39. 64.
Like that?
Yeah.
This is your monthly, because that number is already monthly, principal and interest. So 3 steps. It was not that hard, right?
No.
It's just knowing how to use the chart. And if you don't know how to use the chart, right there on the left, there's a grayed out area that says how to use the chart. In the state exam, they're going to present the chart to you, but it does not come with how to use the chart. So you have to know how. You have to know that the number there is per thousands.
And does it say that at the top or no, per thousand?
Nope.
Okay.
That's why I highlighted in page 186. I told you to highlight monthly per thousands on page 196 where the chart is. Okay, it's very important you pay attention to that. Okay, and you said number 10 as well?
Mhm.
All right. Who's going to read it to me?
Me. Andrew, this is the 13 apartments. And the Overtown Arms for total monthly rental of 4,500. If this figure represents an 8% annual return on whatever this name is, investment, what was the original cost of the property? Let's say McTravis.
Okay. So Andrew McTavish leases the 13 apartments in Overtown Arms for a monthly rental of $4,500. Okay. So this is, let me erase this part because I didn't understand that. I'm sorry. So this is the gross monthly rental income. Gross, right?
GMR.
Now, if this figure represents an 8% annual return on McTavish's investment, what was the original cost of the property? Well, first thing we have to do is if we're going to put anything about investment into the steering wheel, the top number must be annual, bless you,
Bless you.
right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So if this is monthly, what do we have to do first?
I'll multiply.
And that equals?
54,000.
Okay.
Wait, why are you doing that?
Because the number that goes on the steering wheel is always annual.
Really?
If the number is on top and the other number is at the bottom, what do we do? 54,000 divided by 8% is?
675.
675? Oh, look, that's the answer.
I think I was thrown off by if this figure represents an 8% annual return. I'm thinking the 4,500 was the 8% annual.
Yeah, but it says monthly.
Yeah.
It's the monthly rental. How would you use a monthly to figure out annual?
Yeah,
Return.
that's what threw me off.
I know. You got it?
Mhm.
Did everybody get it?
Mhm.
Cool. Any other questions?
Mhm.
First time I taught math chapter, in certain points I didn't know how to explain how I got to the numbers. Because like I said, I had to learn how to teach math.
Right, you know how to get to it yourself, but
Some of these
that's why I'm
numbers,
trying to pay attention to your different
method.
methods here.
I had to create this, and don't get offended because I love these books. It's like Math for Dummies, Real Estate Math for Dummies. I love those books because they break it down to the simplest form. And that's what it is. Like, we're so busy with our lives, still having to remember these things is difficult. So you have to break it down to a point where it stays in your mind. That's why I love the steering wheel. That's why when I'm reading the questions, I break down the way I do. And I look at the things that are important. Like I said right away, this is monthly, right? So if I'm going to put it here for a return, I need to remember that I need annual.
Yeah.
So a few key words to pick up on. And that's the name of the game.
Read the question.
Read the questions. Any questions? Speaking of which. No? Cool. So do these exercises at home, even those that you've done already from the previous chapters. Any questions you have, address them, please. Don't let any question go unanswered. Tomorrow, we're doing practice exam A. So you don't need to bring your books. You need to bring a notebook only. Okay? Tomorrow's practice exam A. Notebook only. You guys got it? Yes?
Yeah.
Travel light. I'll see you guys tomorrow.